Okay, welcome to this video. What we're going to do today is we're going to kind of use the power of math, and we're going to use random numbers. And random numbers are actually really handy in computer programming because um, really math is like your computer's native language. That's like the language he speaks. So we're going to use this brand new block that we've never used, a new code block called pick random. It'll be pretty handy. We're going to talk about the coordinate system because it's very much like graphing in math class. And basically by the end of this video, we're going to have the Scratch Cat kind of shift around randomly in the X direction. So let's get started. When you get to your, when you click the link from Canvas, you get to a project like this. Very first thing you want to do is make sure that you hit Remix. So this Remix button that'll be up here, if you don't click Remix, then you're not saving your work. So make sure you click Remix. Now, what we've got here is the Scratch Cat, because I'm sure you missed him, and we've placed him on an XY grid. Now, I put this backdrop on here to help you visualize things, but in Scratch, any program that you're using really lives in an XY grid. Like it really thinks about everything as X and Y, regardless of what the backdrop is. You could be on the beach and it's still thinking about X and Y. You could be in space and it's still thinking about X and Y. I just put this grid on the back so you can think about it and see it easier. Now you'll notice it's just like math class. You're in the X axis, you have a Y axis. 0, 0 is here in the middle. X is getting bigger when you go to the right. X is getting smaller when you go left, etc., etc. Now, what I want you to notice though is this is not a square grid because the biggest X goes from 240 up here all the way down to negative 240. So you take a look at these numbers. Y doesn't, you don't have as many Y values. So the biggest Y you have is 180. The smallest Y you have is negative 180. Okay, now that's fun. You'll notice that right now this cat is at spot 0, 0. And so these numbers here are always going to be showing you kind of where the cat is at this moment. When I run this, the first thing it'll say is, it'll ask you for a clock, how many seconds do you want on the clock. It has a working clock. And every time I click him, I get a point. I score a point. Which is kind of lame right now because he doesn't really, it's not very challenging because he just sits there and I click him, right? Ooh, I got great reflexes. And then the clock runs out at the end. Now, what we want is to throw some code in there and make this game a little more challenging. So, if you take a look over here in your code, basically when the sprite is clicked, we just have some stuff that if there's still time on the clock, then you score a point. Awesome. What I want him to do to make this more interesting is I want him to move. So if I want him to move, I'm going to hit the motion block, and we're actually going to use something, I don't know if we've ever used this one before. If you scroll down, there is a blue one that says set your X. I want to set his X. I'm going to put that inside this sandwich right underneath the score. So do that with me. Now, setting his X to 0 is going to be pretty lame because his X is already 0. So let's say set his X to be, I'm going to say 100, just for fun. Now let's test that out. When I give this a run, it asks me for the time, which is going to get annoying after a while. And watch this. When I click him, his X position, if you watch his X position up here, his X position is going to go to 100. Boop. Very nice. If I click him again, it goes to 100 again. That's where it gets boring, right? Because he's already at 100. So, I click him, it goes to 100. I keep clicking him, it keeps going to 100. His Y position didn't change. His X position did change, but it snapped to 100, right? Now, that's exciting one time to go to 100. It's not exciting the next 5 times you click him because it's same old, same old. So let's do this. To make this exciting, what we're going to do is let the computer pick something random. Like we're telling it to go to 100, blah. We're going to let it pick something totally random. So we've never used a random block before. What I want you to do is hit your operator. We haven't done a lot of stuff in this green area, but your operators are your green blocks. Grab this block right here. Pick random. Pick a random number between 1 and 10. I'm going to put that in that set your X. So set your X to be something random between 1 and 10. Now, watch this. I run this, it asks me how many seconds there are, blah, blah, blah. Now when I click him, now this it's kind of hard to see him move here, but watch his X position up there in the top corner. 2, 3, 8, 9, 8, 6. So these are just random numbers, but there's some number between 1 and 10. Now you'll notice I'm clicking him really fast. I'm really good at this game. He just kind of shifts around really, really small, because think about this. 0 is right here, right? And then 100, 100 is over here, right? So from here to here is between 0 and 100. Well, he's only having a chance to go up to 10, which is like this little teeny tiny area right around here. So he's like just hopping around somewhere between 1 and 10. Well, that's pretty boring, right? So what we want to do is make our number a little cooler. Let's say, what if I said he could go anywhere between 1 and 100? Watch this. I'm going to run this. How many seconds do you want? Blah, blah, blah. Now here it comes. Boom. 18. 34. So I'm watching this number here and watching him visually. His X is 82. His X is 62. His X is 48. So now he's got a little more free range, right? He's able to go anywhere in the x-axis between 1, and 100. I got bad aim. 100's right there. So he's going to always hop in between there. Now, that's a little better. Still kind of a boring game. What we're going to do in the next video, we're going to come back here and we're going to make him use more of the screen so he's got a little more freedom. So right now you've got something that looks like this. In the next video, we're going to spice it up a little more.